The following is a tutorial on the many graphing and exporting features from the Media Audit. This tutorial will cover how to graph data, clip and paste data into other programs such as PowerPoint, and how to export data into Excel. To create a graph, all you have to do is create a report and then click on the graph icon on the toolbar of your report. Depending on the report you're trying to view, your graph options may vary. For this tutorial, we'll use the Ranker report. When your report is in view, click on the graph icon on the toolbar. We'll walk you through each of these features and how to use them. Your first option is to create a horizontal or a vertical bar. In the case of the Ranker report, you will also have an option to create a male-female total graph. Here's what each of them will look like. Here is what the horizontal bar graph will look like. Here's what the vertical bar graph will look like. And then here is what the male-female total bar graph will look like. Depending on how many media you have selected and the type of graph you have selected to display, the program will only display as many of the top performing media that fit the page. So for example, if your Ranker report has 20 media, a horizontal graph will only display the top 8. Next down the list is the option to toggle data graphed. This allows you to switch the graph labels from ratings to persons. To toggle back to ratings, simply click on the graph icon and then toggle data graphed. Let's look at the 2D, 3D feature. The graph default is to graph the data in 2D format. But if you want to switch to a 3D format, you can click on this button. This will also enable you to rotate the graph for further effects. Notice when I click on any of the scroll bars on the top, right, or bottom, they will change the angle of your graph. Simply click OK when you're done rotating your 3D graph. You can also change the width of your 2D bars by clicking on the bar graph size width option. First, let's toggle back to a 2D graph, and then all you have to do is simply select bar graph size width, and then you'll use a scroll bar to the right or left to change the width of your graph. When you're done adjusting your bar graph size width, all you need to do is click Close. The next feature is the Graph Titles option. If you want to customize this graph before printing it or cutting and pasting it, you can do so without having to leave the Media Audit software. Click on the Graph Titles option. A window will appear prompting you to select where on the page you want your title to go. We'll choose Top, and then we'll be able to type in a new title. And when you're done, all you have to do is click Close. The graph label fonts will enable you to change the font size, and the font style. So let's go ahead and choose this option and change the font to make it a little bit larger. We'll also make the font style in bold to make it easier to read. When you're done making your changes, click OK. Next, we have the Graph Colors option. This is a feature that will enable you to change the colors and/or the patterns on each of the bar graphs. In many cases, you may want to randomize the colors or else color your media's bar so that it stands out in the report. Let's go ahead and show you how to do this. Click on Graph Colors, and then you will have a pull-down menu for each of the media in your report. Simply click on the pull-down and select your new color. You have a lot of color options at your disposal. When you're done, you can click Close. So we've already gone over how to rotate the graph and change the bar graph size and width. Let's move on to the next one, which is Graph Background. Here you can give the graph a different background style and grid lines, not to mention a different background color. Once you're done making your adjustments, you just click Close. Here you can see as I select each of the radio buttons how it changes the look of the report. And then you can revert back to no background style if you choose, And here are the different options for adding grid lines to your graph. If you want to change the color background, simply click on the background color pull-down menu and choose a different color. I'm going to go ahead and revert back to white since most of these options are going to take up a lot of ink if you choose to print it. The next item allows you to export your graph as a bitmap file. Click on the graph icon and then click on Export Graph. Then you'll be asked to name your graph, and you'll need to designate where you want to save it on your hard drive. And now you have a bitmap image of the graph you just created. It's something that if you'd like to email or print out at a later date or just save it, you'll have it on your computer. The next option is Graph Default. Let's say you created a font and style that looks like this, but you don't like it. Click on Graph Default and it will return your graph to the default settings. If, on the other hand, you like this font and size that you just created, you can click on Save Graph Options, save this as a setting, and the next time you create a report and want to apply it to your graphs, all you have to do is create your report and then click on Load Graph Options, find the setting on your hard drive, and then they'll apply to your graph. That wraps up the graph option features from the Media Audits toolbar. The next subject is how to clip and paste a graph into another program, such as PowerPoint. Here we'll take the graph that I just created and then I'll click on Clip and then Clip Bitmap on the toolbar. Now all you have to do is use the Paste command to place that same image in your other program. To export this data into Excel, when your report is in view, all you have to do is click on the Clip Export to Excel option from the toolbar. The program will automatically launch Excel and then export the data into a workbook. As a side note, you must have Excel installed on your machine. Depending on the version you have, your workbook may look different. In this example, we're working in an Excel 2007 environment, and so this is what you would see. Now that the data has been imported into Excel, you will use your Excel dashboard to modify your tables and graphs. That wraps up the tutorial on how to graph data, use the clip and paste feature, and export your data into Excel. If you need further assistance, feel free to contact our helpline at 1-800-324-9921. For additional tutorials, visit us on the web.